did you used to do? Or tell us what you do now, and then we'll get into what you used to do.
Yeah, it was, you know, it's funny because in hindsight, it looks like I've had multiple businesses. But, you know, during that process, I felt like I only had one business, but it's kind of a funny evolution. So right now I have, like you said, a social media agency, and we create content and we help small and medium-sized businesses manage their content on multiple social media platforms. But going back a few years, I had a video production company, and I have a diploma and a degree in production, right? So, I was doing corporate videos, and but what happened was this newfangled YouTube came up and Facebook was coming up, and it was around the time when Twitter was brand new, Instagram didn't even exist, and like forget about Snapchat and all that. And my clients were making these videos and investing, and they're like, I'd like throw it on YouTube, and they were overwhelmed by that. So I, by default, had to take care of it for them, right? And the funny thing is, it started to go like this. People were more interested in my helping them with social media instead of video. So I mean, I still do the occasional video, but it's sort of like gone into the back burner, and I've just by default specialized in social. And I mean, before I did video production for companies, I did video production for weddings, if you can believe it.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's like wedding video. And before that, I mean, I had like multiple media related company, like I tried a bunch of things before I started to hone in.
Right.
And I think that was just, at the time, I thought, you know, God, I'm wasting a lot of time. I was like making websites at one point. But all of these things kind of come together because what I'm doing now is an amalgamation of everything I've learned. Like, you know, so even the wedding business taught me a lot about how to listen to what your clients need, for instance. And even the website business taught me how to integrate social media with websites, and, you know, how to build a website that catches people's attention and converts. And so all these seemingly misplaced pieces all came together, and I am here. It was all part of the journey. It's like Frodo. Yeah.
So what was the corporate gig that you had before you started actually doing, well, it sounds like you did some of it on the side first, but what were you doing in the corporate world?
I was, I worked for several agencies, not at the same time. Let's be careful how I say this. I worked for a PR agency.
Right.
And, oh my God, my cat is here.
That's okay. That happens.
So I worked for a corporate, I worked for a public relations agency, and I thought I really hated it because there was just something about being a small cog in a huge machine with all these moving parts, right? And it was just, it felt like I wasn't really making an impact on my clients, really. Like they weren't even, it didn't even feel like they were my clients. Like it was just, you know, build this database or like write this press release or like, and I didn't even know what would happen
you're just like such a small piece of it.
You're just such a tiny replaceable piece of it. And I just felt very disconnected from what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And so, and before that, it was like with a smaller agency. And before that was with a really small, like when I first started out, I was with an agency with like 4 people. And I thought, well, maybe I just need to change agencies. Right. And I went to a bigger agency. It's like, I just hate this kind of work. So I put it aside and I went back to school and I did production, like video production for a while. And then now it's ironic because I started my own agency, and it wasn't, now I realize 20 years later, only 20 years later, that what it wasn't the job that was bad for me, it was the culture. Right. Like, I like getting my hands dirty. I like knowing my client like this and like getting in their heads, and, you know, each one's very different, has different needs, and needs to be handled differently. And, you know, they have different apprehensions about social media. But I didn't get that feeling working for somebody else. Right. So, and part of the process was mental, like just realizing just because all these big agencies did things this way, doesn't mean it's the only way. Doesn't mean it's the right way. There are other ways to do things. And I thought for a long time I didn't really fit in with those people. Like they were just a certain way. And personality clashes and things like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, it's cool. Everything's fine.
Right.
I just had to like figure out how I was able to add value.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna get rid of my cat because he's like messing with my camera. Hold on a sec.
He's rubbing his nose against it, I can tell.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's real life.
It's just, hopefully it doesn't get more real than that.
That's okay. Yeah. So, how did you know, or when did you take the plunge to decide that you were actually going to do this on your own or do something on your own?
You know, it's like in the movies, there's always like this defining moment where you take the plunge. But in real life, or in my life, it wasn't even, I knew when I was 25 and sitting at a desk job that this wasn't, I didn't like this. So I thought, you know, when I'm 45, I'm going to start a business. And I want to be on my own and want to work at home. And if I have kids, I want to be home. If I have cats, I'm going to be home with the cat. And I remember being like 25 at my first real job, like at a desk. And so it was always in there. And I moved from that job to another and I was always back there. And I remember even someone saying, you know why you can't cut it? It's because you want to do your own thing. And we just want someone to stay on the desk. Like you're always getting all these big ideas, like stay in your place.
Yeah, stop having ideas.
Stop having ideas. And I can remember the flip. It was a job interview I had. And I went through the first, second, third, fourth interview and they're like, we're really impressed with you. And I didn't get the job. And I'm like, why didn't I get it? I finally lost my mind. I'm like, why didn't I get it? I'm perfect for this. I want to start at the bottom, I'm going to work. And I want to like move up the tiers and I want that person's job. I knew exactly my path, right? And they're like, that's why you didn't get hired. We want you to stay here. We don't want someone who's going to try to move up.
We don't want anybody that's ambitious.
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically I was like, if I stay in corporate, I'm never going to grow. I'm never going to evolve. I'm never going to have what they have. Like, why not? Like I can have whatever I want.
Yeah.
Right. So that to me it was always in the back of my mind. I just thought I was going to start when I was 45 and I ended up starting when I was 25. Like just doing side hustles.
Yeah.
Side gigs, learning new things on my own, you know.
Yeah. Trying to see what works.
Trying to see and like falling on my face a billion times.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. And that was also.
Although it can be frustrating.
It was horrible. And that was another big mind breakthrough that I had to have because by nature, I'm a perfectionist, and I was raised in a very conservative household where, you know, you just do things clean and right all the time. And, you know, I did great in school and all that, but then real life comes along and it's like, yeah, there's all these variables, right?
Yeah.
So when I failed, I really took it personally.
Yeah.
And it would take me a long time to recover from that failure. Because
you're judging yourself.
Yeah, totally judging myself. And even if, like, I don't mind sharing it now, but there was a time where I would never have admitted this. But like the last 8 years of my business, which is where I did a big pivot and went all in on social media. You know, in the beginning, I remember starting and it was really hard. There's all this personal stuff going on in my life at the same time. And I lost my big client. And that meant my business was in the danger to like completely go under. And I'm like, I'm gonna work at Starbucks.
Dealing with personal life too.
And it took me about 7 months. I remember it took me 7 months to get back online and like recover that lost business with new clients and all that. And then it happened again. Right?
Oh no.
Right? Something happened and there was like, I lost a big client and then a couple little clients all left at the same time. And I'm like, but this time it only took me 3 months to recover. Mostly because I skipped the part where you lie in the fetal position. Right? Because I knew what to do.
That's the best part.
I know! It's like I would say 75% of that 7-month rehab period was lying in the fetal position, just like
yeah. Rock.
You go, okay, let's just jump to strategy. I think I did the fetal position for a weekend. I gave myself a weekend.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we know the strategy. We know what things are in place and what we have to do. Just do it. And I was building up a structure in my business where I can't really lose one client or lose 2-3 clients and fall. You know, I was building a
You were
safety net.
changing the way that you were building your business, a different
Exactly.
model.
Yeah. And then guess what happened a year after that? Happened again.
Oh
And
my
guess how
gosh.
long it took me to recover this time? 3 days. 3
Wow.
days. Yeah, major fallout. And then I'm like, okay, just skip the fetal position. You have the strategy, safety nets in place. Here are your hot leads. Here are your warm leads. Here are your cold leads. Go at it. Nailed more than enough leads. Came
So
up
you
with,
obviously learned some things.
yeah, yeah. But that only came with being okay with failure.
Right.
And like looking really stupid.
I hope it's okay, but I want to just tell people, like, it's not like you have a fallback or somebody else taking care of you.
No.
It's you. It's you. And you
Well, it's the
and
cat,
you
as you can see, she's
and
concerned.
you're a single mom, right?
Yeah, very simple.
Yeah. So you know, it's all on you. And
It is, yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of that I think the beginning was the fear, because you catastrophize things when it's all you, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What's the number of Starbucks and who's the
No, exactly.
I think that
Yeah.
I think that's sort of funny though, because I really wonder if I'd ever be good at Starbucks, because it looks so difficult.
It does look hard. Like I say Starbucks as if it's an easy thing. It's like I can't even order at Starbucks. I'm like, just tall black something. I don't care. Just whatever's in this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you recovered again really quickly this time, because you did, like, what were your strategies? Like,
Strategy was I have an ongoing network that I keep in touch with. And that's also part of my business and what I teach my clients is like stay present on social media, by email, convert people on your website to like sign up for your email constantly. So I was in constant contact with all of these people, even though I was a single mom and I didn't, you know, I used to do a lot of in-person networking, and that got kind of kiboshed when I became a single mother. But I kept it up online. So, you know, I was still in people's faces. People knew exactly what I was doing. I knew who was interested, it was just maybe not the right time for them to sign on. And all I had to do was reach out to these people and say, hey, place opened up if you're still interested, like we were talking 6 months ago. And that's the thing, you got to keep track of all these people, right?
Yeah.
I say, by the way, I have some space for you if you're interested in talking. By the way, I've been like watching what you've been doing on Facebook. Here's what you're doing wrong. Let me help you.
Yeah.
Right?
Money's in the follow-up, and then, you know, offering that value, right?
Yeah, because it's not a one-hit thing. Like you have to just be in constant contact with these people.
Yeah.
And earnestly trying to help them all the time.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to convert, it's not even a conversion. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm ready. And that's it. That's why it only took me 3 days.
And now you can pick and choose who you want to work with.
Yeah. I mean, with this COVID situation, it's like, there's been a boom and I'm like sitting here.
You're
I
busy.
Yeah, I get to
busy
pick.
as heck.
Yeah, whoever's got the best return on my investment of, you know, like who I want to focus on. So I'm sitting pretty, like knock on wood, not to be arrogant about it, but it's like, it's nice to finally be here. Like yeah.
Well, and it's not like you haven't worked there and figured it out. So you've, what I would say, earned it, and you deserve it. So I know that lots of people would like to probably know about even social media and what they should be doing. I think everybody's pretty excited to have a social media expert on. So if it's okay, I'd love to ask you just some basic questions for business owners, people that are trying to do their own social media to start. You know, what should they be doing? Where, like the question I get asked all the time is, you know, what do I do? And it's like, it's this overwhelm, right? So take the overwhelm away.
Okay.
You explain this really well.
I sort of feel like a psychotherapist sometimes. A lot of it is just managing overwhelm.
Yeah.
A lot of it, especially the new ones, right? So the first thing I say is just pick one platform. Okay, I know there's hundreds, and actually maybe 5 of them matter, or even 4 of them really matter. The big 5 is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Chances are whoever you're trying to get to is on one or more of these 5, right? So, and you know, if you have a very specialized brand and you're aiming at kids and you want to do Snapchat and stuff, there's other stuff too. But like chances are you're good on YouTube, right? So first I say pick one and like get really comfortable on one. And then add the next one. When it becomes boring and routine and like, you know it, then add another layer to your strategy. Then add another layer to your strategy. But like, don't go all in and get overwhelmed and then fall apart. And then you're in the fetal position. And you're, you know,
again,
don't do that to yourself, right? Don't do what I did. Do what I say.
Right. Okay, I have another question then. The next question I get is, but what do I put on? Like, what do I share? I don't know what to say.
Yeah. So before you even put anything on, you have to know very well who you want to reach and more importantly, who you want to help. So just focus on helping people. Don't advertise because everyone's bored of that. You know, don't try to sell something. It's overwhelming, right? Especially like in the current climate right now with everyone dealing with COVID and there's Black Lives Matter and there's all this tension in the air. Just provide value. But that was true before. It's just 100 more times true now. So just provide value. You know who your ideal client is in your head, or you should, right? And
yes,
what piece of advice can you offer them today? I mean, chances are there's like 10 or 20 questions that you get every day, the same ones over and over and over again. That's 20 topics.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable doing a video or a full-length blog, just do like a little tweet, like just set and see what hits. And you'll start to see what hits and what doesn't hit.
Yeah.
So the first thing really to do is to get a feeling for your voice, your tone, what resonates with your ideal client. You might be getting tons of shares and clicks, and if they're all the wrong people, then you screwed up.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
The wrong people. Like I was in mastermind this week, my mastermind this week, and we were chatting about Facebook ads and Facebook, Instagram ads, and somebody said boost, and I went, ah! I said, what did you get with those boosts? You know, I've been taught by the best, so I know. Nishi says, don't boost, right?
Well, boosting is better now than it was.
Because you can choose a bit more?
Yeah, it gives you a little bit more options. So I'm not against the boost, especially, you know, if making the ad is a bit too tedious for you. So I'm sort of like, I know there was a time where boosting was just completely useless, right? But now it's kind of becoming a little bit better. So,
but sometimes just boosting is like not getting, like if you don't get into choosing some of those categories and things that make sense, then you're going to get all like, and that's what happened to this person is they got all these people that didn't make sense for them.
Yeah.
They waste that money.
It's too wide. Yeah. And people are afraid to zoom in, right? People, you know, the first question I ask when someone is inquiring about my services is like, who's your audience? And if they say everybody, I'm like, okay, go home.
Go home and think about what you just said. Go to your room.
Have you heard of this lady, Kim Speed? Talk to her, right? Because everybody is not your audience, right? That's malarkey. So, and that's what these boosts make it too easy to do is like, well, I'm just going to blanket, and they spend like $5 or even like $5,000 on this huge audience. And so, you know, each person might get one impression and it doesn't do anything. It wasn't something they were really interested in anyway. And if they were interested, one impression is not going to make them click. You got to like, I have to be careful how I say that because it makes people cringe, but you have to hit someone with a bunch of impressions before they even click.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then if you're going to do boosting and if you're going to invest in ads, it's not a one-time thing. It's a strategy. It's a long-term commitment. You have to keep doing it every week or, you know, like on an ongoing basis, new content. So that's the thing. It's like people seem to think social media and ads and boosts are just like a one-time effort and then all the return's going to come. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's an investment, a long-term investment.
Yeah. And as you said, it's a way to network online, and you don't, when you're networking and getting to know people, it's not like you're just saying hi and then you're best buds.
Yeah,
right?
no.
Right.
You have to build rapport with these people. They have to trust you. And sometimes that means eventually getting that coffee date. It works in tandem with in-person marketing. And
Mhm.
if they're far away, it's just, ongoing communication, like meaningful communication, not just in the comments, but like hitting them in the DMs or like getting emails or doing a call like this, or, it's,
Yeah.
you're investing in relationships. It's social media. It's socializing. You're investing in a relationship. And,
Yeah.
and then people are like, that's so much work. And it's like, well, it's not a magic wand, it's
No,
work.
but they don't understand that it's part of their marketing.
Yeah.
And if they well, because you and I both have spent, an exorbitant amount of time in live networking, and we know that that works well. But you've done a really great job of actually, bringing that online. As you said, you had to. You didn't have a choice, but you got really great at it. And everybody, think about it. This is the perfect time now that you should be doing this because everybody's online.
Everyone's online. I think the week after COVID, after the pandemic hit, I think it was a 70% increase on Facebook activities.
Yeah.
Like, because people need to socialize. They're like, where are my friends? And they're researching and they're buying stuff. They are buying. I know I'm buying stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? We're all shopping. Just admit it, right? We're
Yeah.
shopping and eating. But
Yeah.
yeah. So and I want to be careful about how I say this, because there's also been a bit, especially with small businesses, there's a toxicity to the hustle culture. Everyone's like, you should be writing books and learning new languages. And like, we're in a state of tension right now. So if you need to like step back and assess the situation, that's also okay. But
Well,
it's been,
first things first is make sure that you take care of number one.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like
Or
if
your
I'm not getting
family.
enough sleep and not eating sourdough all day, then
Or trying to make it.
trying to make it. I don't even understand. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it works. If it helps you, then do it. Right.
Yeah.
So I was really kind of restraining from saying now's the time to like shoot a whole bunch of videos and like write a whole bunch of blogs, because I know a lot of people are like, what's going to happen to me, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's been a couple of months, and now's a good time to like start making content.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah.
And people are online. They're there. They're waiting for something interesting and helpful.
Yeah.
They're waiting for it.
And they're not just on Facebook.
No.
No, they're on YouTube. They're on LinkedIn. There's, I think there's a resurgence even in Twitter. I sort of, find myself on there a bit more too now, just because you get little, sometimes it's nice to have those little snippets.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing that was alluring about it in the first place, right? It's fast and it's quick and it's a nice little hit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's nice too to do, if you're going to do a little video, to not put as much pressure on yourself to do this big long video, just and do a short one. But tell us what you think about doing content as video and how beneficial that is.
Yeah, first of all, some content is going to be better than no content, right? As long as you're offering value. So, and the way the algorithms generally work these days, it used to be like, oh, just put a video, and then people would cheat and put like a 3-second video of nothingness, and it would get them more views. But it doesn't work that way anymore. You do have to have value. So, Facebook algorithm, for instance, will measure how many seconds people are engaged, and depending on how long people are engaged, it'll help the visibility of your video, right? So people statistically start to knock off around the 90-second mark. So 1.5 minutes is good.
Right.
It's the hot spot, right?
Yeah.
Facebook and tends to favor 3 minutes. Like if it's 3 minutes, it's like, oh, that's substantial. Let's give it a chance. So if you can do 3 minutes, great. But if you're uninteresting for 3 minutes, don't aim for 3 minutes. Aim for being interesting consistently, because finishing the video is the most important thing for the algorithm across all.
Or if somebody watches the whole thing.
If somebody watches the whole thing. So if you've engaged someone from start to finish, that's really good. regardless of how long it is. So that's most important. The attention span of the average internet user now is 7 seconds. So your first 7 seconds, which is less than a goldfish, by the way.
I heard that.
So we have devolved into less than goldfish attention spans. But yeah, your first 7 seconds better be like, this is what problem I am going to solve for you specifically. I know exactly who you are and what you're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that in the first 7 seconds, you're going to lose them. And it's like, they're not going to finish your video and you're not going to get any visibility. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of been all over the place, but that's generally it. Just, again, it sounds like a broken record, but provide value. Don't get too messed up with, like, when I started in video production last decade, there was a lot of emphasis on production, right? And we didn't have these smartphones that could do HD video. And like, it was like, you got to hire a camera crew with lights and all this. You don't need to do any of that anymore. Like, don't get bogged down in that. Like, what we're doing here with webcams and decent lighting, like, I'm using a window. I don't even have any lights on.
Yeah. I have a little light here.
Yeah, well, a little light is good. It's like, you know, what is most important is getting your message across. Don't be, you know, don't have cats like rocking your camera around, but
sometimes things can't be helped.
Real life.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. I'm selling authenticity here. So, you know, it's most important to get the message out. You don't have to do something crazy with the editing anymore. Like, just make sure it's nice and clean. The biggest extra is subtitles.
Right.
So I think it's 80% of videos on social media, like Instagram, Facebook, get watched without sound. So, you know, 80% of the time people are watching on their phone or whatever. And if they can't hear us, they're going to zone out of this because it's just two people talking, right? However, if we have subtitles running along the bottom, they'll stay.
So good question. How do people get subtitles? So that's another question I get. Well, how do I put subtitles on?
So the easiest way is Facebook and YouTube do automatically generate subtitles for you. And a lot of people don't realize that. They just don't turn it on in their settings. So turn it on. I would also read the subtitles that they generate because it's a robot doing it and you get some pretty funny results sometimes, right? Especially if you have an accent or something like that, right? Like even a British accent, which is like as English as it gets, the English subtitles for British people are ridiculous. So you can go back in and like type it up, right? Or like edit it, you know? If you have a funny sounding name like myself, you'll get like the wrong name comes up. Just fix that stuff. Right. If you want to go, that's free and it will take more work and more of your time. Now, if you want to go next level, there are services I don't have any affiliate with them. I just use them because they work. It's called rev.com, rev.com. And you just send them a link to your video or you send them a video file and they will create a caption file for you. And then you can just upload that. And that, because there's a human behind it, it's already kind of proofread.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But it's still going to be 90% perfect, right? Yeah. So that'll be your next level thing, and it's pretty cheap. I think they're charging $1.50 per minute American. Mm-hmm. So you know, if it's a 3-minute video, whatever, it's not going to cost you that much.
Yeah, yeah, right? And can be quite worth it.
Yeah, and they'll also throw in a transcript if you ask, and that's a really effective way to even create more content because some people are just better at doing a video than they are writing. Yeah. Blog. So what I suggest for some of my clients, if they're like this, is like, well, shoot your video, we'll send it to Rev, and then they send back the transcript with the closed captions, with the subtitles, and then we just take that transcript and modify it into a blog. Like it's half written. Yeah. So, you know, that's a hack for you.
Yeah, that's a great tip. That's a great tip. And if if you need something fast, you can do it for free in Facebook, but just go back and make sure you check.
Yeah, go back and check because you don't know what's going to happen, but yeah. Okay. Or go to the service. Yeah, there's options.
Right. One last thing, because as we progress through the social media environment. Tell us about the latest and newest things that are happening, like TikTok.
TikTok, I'm not on TikTok, I'll be honest.
What do you see though that people should be maybe having a look at?
Again, it's more about the content than the platform. Like, you can try new things, but it's about content at the end of the day. And if
Right.
you're good on
So
TikTok,
don't get hung up on all of these shiny objects, right?
don't get hung up on
Basically,
the
what I am trying to get out
yeah.
of you is like, because I hear all this stuff, right? Oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing that.
Yeah. And that's where part of the overwhelm comes from. If you're secure in what you've got going on, pick one, pick two, like anchor your three. But if you keep on like, that's the newest thing, that's the newest thing. TikTok might get banned in the US, right? They're having security issues and, you know, political issues, whatever, right? And so what if it's gone?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you
And it used to be Snapchat, like
yeah, it was Snapchat 5 minutes ago. I say do it if you've got the mental capacity for it and the time for it and it's fun for you. Play with it, but focus more on being solid on things that are solid.
yeah.
You know,
Like if your business is trying to reach people in business, then think about LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's come a long way in the last 2 years.
Huge.
I was ready to, like, I used to call it, oh, such a dinosaur. I'm just on there.
I know it was so archaic.
No, I mean, I remember like they announced we now have native video, and it's like full clap LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
But it's great. It's great, you know, and they let you upload subtitle files, you know, and I got a huge return on LinkedIn, and I'm glad I never fully gave up on it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see?
It's interesting because I actually have recently found that I've been getting a lot of business through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's because I spent a lot of time on there before, but you're right. I kind of got tired of it too, thinking, I don't know whether there's any return, but
Right.
because I did spend that time on it previously, it's
Yeah.
paying off now.
Yeah. I mean, like Twitter, for instance, I was like Twitter, and I didn't see a lot of return on Twitter, but I just kept doing it. And then I landed one client.
Yeah.
And then that client was like $10,000 a year for 5 years. So one.
Yeah, it's nothing to,
Like, oh. Yeah.
you don't want to dismiss it.
Yeah.
So, but don't get overwhelmed and try and do all of it.
No.
Yeah. So start with the ones that are where you think your audience is, right?
Yeah. Just focus. I think the emphasis should be on focus. Like, do something really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people will find you, right? And then you branch out to the next thing because you see where your people are. And that's another thing. You have to be like, it's like, I was just observing this one brand. She only did Instagram. And then she saw like a lot of people wanted her to get into her videos a little more. So she went to YouTube, and so now she's growing on YouTube, and it's like, it's just a natural progression. Yeah. But it's like, if she goes like, oh, Snapchat, just because it's new, it's kind of dumb. Like, yeah, they're on YouTube, they're on Instagram.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, this has been awesome, and you've shared such great information, especially for these business owners. I just wonder if there's anything that you want to leave us with, a final tip or anything that we haven't covered that I missed in questions.
I would say, I know it's a tough time, and we're like being hurled through a lot of politics and pandemics and all of that kind of thing, and just not to worry. Like, be patient with yourself. It's a good time to be creating content. It's a good time to be experimenting with content. Just have fun with it more than anything. Like, engage, just be engaging. And I think you'll get that as a reward. Like, when people respond, whether it's for business or personal, that'll give you a boost.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And how can people get hold of you?
So my website is nightdaymedia.com, and Nishi Sood on all the big 5.
Okay. So, just at Nishi Sood. Okay. You know what? We're going to put that in the the notes in Facebook so people can reach out to you if they have questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, well, thank you again so much. This has been great, and really appreciate you spending some time and with your cat.
Sorry about that. I closed the door as she figured it out.
I know. How can they open the door? It's so amazing.
I think she had an accomplice, but
Oh.
a passive-aggressive accomplice who.
That happens too.
No.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to Nishi. And hopefully this has helped you with some social media tips for your business. Take care, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.